They've always got their pumps, but yeah.
Welcome everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Everyone please rise if you're able and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's start off with the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there any questions or discussions on the agenda? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next up will be the public comment for this evening. Grandstaff? There are no public comments tonight. So we will move on to our consent agenda items. First will be the approval of the minutes from the June 9th regular meeting. Any questions or discussion on those minutes? If there is none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes.
I second it.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next up will be our financial items for this evening. Mrs. Grandstaff.
Our first source bank statement balance for the month of June was $6,783,093.22. Our first federal bank statement balance was $509.98. The monthly claims were in the amount of $1,898,513.62. The claims and fund report are attached in your packet for your review. The EPCSC summary is also attached in your packet. The transfers for June were the cafeteria transfer for the month of May, since we closed that out for the school year, on the Medicaid Education Fund, grant cleanups, and liability cleanups. There were no multi-year contracts, and the summary of education expenditures is in your packet for your review also.
Was there anything in the financial packet that anyone had questions or wish to discuss? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Actually, I guess, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
It matured, $2 million that matures in September, then will we roll that over, or does that remain to be seen? Or?
Yeah, we will roll that over. We will request new interest rates and find the institution that will give us the best, and then we will roll over that $2 million.
We shop around pretty good.
The interest has not been well.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
And then to approve the financial items presented.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That brings us to our employment items for this evening. Mrs. Cheatham?
Okay, I request your approval of the personnel items contained in your board packet.
Any questions or discussion on any of the personnel items this evening? If there is none, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the personnel items as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That'll bring us to our action discussion items for tonight, starting with the second reading for the Neola policy updates we looked at last meeting.
Okay, this update includes revision to 44 policies, 2 new proposed policies, and technical corrections. There are also the rescission of 4 policies. I also was notified at the end of last week that there is another update that I have just received with more legislation that I will be bringing to you for a first reading next month. So they continue to update policies, but this is the second reading that I put through last month, and I would request your approval of these policies.
And you did mention tabling the 3 policies until
Correct.
Are those included tonight?
Those are not included tonight. There were 3 that had to do with government agencies and how we interact with the police and DCS. We spoke to Monica Conrad, our attorney. I will be putting those on the agenda next month. So
okay.
They're not here.
So we'll be approving the policies other than those.
Correct.
Any other questions or discussions on that? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the Neola policy updates.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Which brings us to the second reading for the corporation handbooks.
Okay, again, this is the second reading for all the handbooks for this year. I didn't send out a message to our families last week. There was a lot of discussion going out on Facebook, not necessarily our community, but across the state of Indiana with some of the new laws with attendance. And my message to our parents is really they're not going to see any changes here. That if they have professional notes, doctor's notes, that those are still excused. We will be calling those certified, but if they provide us a note, those are excused. Parents will still be able to call in for legitimate reasons, as they have in the past for a certain number of days. Those will still be considered excused as well. The law does say that after 5 unexcused days, we would have a meeting to make the parents aware that they've had 5 unexcused days and see if we can help make some changes. And at 10 unexcused days, we would have to report that to the prosecutor or child protection. But it takes a lot to get to that point. So we just wanted to reassure parents that they're not going to see the changes that were being put out there on Facebook.
Any other questions or discussion on the handbooks? Okay, it's the second reading, so I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move approval of the handbooks as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Next up, we're going to talk about a shared service agreement.
Okay, this is the renewal of our shared services agreement with Caston and Pioneer for our special education services. There are not changes other than technical in nature, so I would request your approval of this agreement.
This is a yearly agreement.
Yes.
Any questions or discussions on the agreement? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the shared services.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we have some more generous donations.
The Academic Booster Club has given $414.46 to the high school student activities. And then we have a very generous grant from the Community Foundation of Pulaski County for $5,000 to run the programming for the Boys and Girls Club of Pulaski County, which I'll be talking about next. But first, I wanted to accept their grant.
I make a motion to accept the grant as read.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on that item. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Or what's the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
You messed me up, Steve.
Sorry.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're going to talk about the memorandum of understanding with the Boys and Girls Club.
So we have been in this discussion since last fall, meeting with the Boys and Girls Club, and Mrs. Collins and I had hoped that we would get this started second semester, and I think we were just a little bit too optimistic. But we have had continual meetings with the Boys and Girls Club. We have an MOU for your approval tonight. We will be partnering with the Boys and Girls Club. There is a $5,000 programming fee, which is paid for by the Community Foundation grant that we received. This will host after-school Boys and Girls Club here at Eastern Pulaski Elementary. It will be replacing our after-school childcare, and there will be the option for a before-school childcare. Boys and Girls Club say that they have to have 20 students that need that before school, and that portion would be parent paid. There would not be a fee for families that want to take part in the after school. That is being taken care of by the grant by the foundation. So I request your approval for this partnership. I spoke to them again today. They are interviewing people to staff it. They're talking to some of the people that have been running our after school child care first to see if they have interest before that they look other places. And then they would be starting August 11th. So rather than starting that Wednesday, the first day of school, they would be starting Monday, the first Monday, first full week.
Do we know what hours and how late they'll keep students till?
I want to say 6 o'clock is what they are trying to do, 6 o'clock.
We will probably advertise for sign-up
Yes,
fairly
they should
soon.
get me a link by the end of the week that we will be sending out to all the elementary parents to let them know how to sign up. They're going to have a table at the Meet the Teacher night for anybody that didn't see that notification, we'll be off and
Spread the
running.
word.
Spread the word. So I'm really excited for the opportunity for our families.
Okay, I'm kind of new on this, so this will replace the after-school daycare.
Correct. The after-school program that our elementary students go to.
Elementary.
Yes. So we were running it. We also had some families going to Warrior Opportunity, the Methodist Church. I'm not sure if they will continue to have their program at the Methodist Church, but this is going to replace the program that we were doing. That again, it was parent paid. Parents were paying to send their kids to our after school. We were not able to keep students past about 4:30 because of what it did to our insurance and benefits that we would have to pay our employees. So this is going to expand the hours that we offer for our families, and it's going to run all through the Boys and Girls Club. I have spoken to numerous corporations that have this program, and it sounds too good to be true, but everybody has been very positive and said what a great program it is to work with. So I'm excited about it.
That's good.
It's every day of the school day?
Yes, every school day.
Is there a limit on how many kids can enroll? I know there was a limit for the after school.
There was a limit. They'll have to hire more.
They'd have
They said they don't want to turn people away.
I didn't know.
I think that they're shooting for about 30. If there's more than 30, then they'll have to expand their staffing. And again, in the mornings, they need at least 20 to be able to put on the morning program, because that, again, isn't paid for by the grant, and it's not paid for by the school corporations.
Our insurance covers that. I mean, that's covered.
And the Boys and Girls Club has insurance as well, so.
Good.
We under both.
I think expanding beyond 4:30 would be a big plus for parents. So, any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the MOU for the Boys and Girls Club presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next up, we have another memorandum of understanding with Cardinal Services.
There is no cost to this MOU, and it is a renewal with our agreement with Cardinal Services to support the vocational success of our students with disabilities, but by providing pre-employment transition services. These services include activities such as job exploration, work-based learning, and workplace readiness training for our older students with disabilities. So I would request your approval of this MOU.
Questions or discussion? If there is none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That item passes. Next up will bring us to the 26th budget calendar.
All right, so this budget calendar includes a special board meeting. That's a hearing on September 29th in which we give you the proposed budget, and then it would be approved October 13th at a regular board meeting. So I would request your approval of this budget calendar.
Pretty much the same thing we do every year.
Every year.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the 2026 budget calendar as presented.
A second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up will be approval of the 25-26 curriculum.
Okay, this again is something that we do every year. This lists the curriculum that we use from kindergarten through 12th grade. The one change that you would see is at the elementary that we did adopt a new reading curriculum, The Wonders through McGraw-Hill. So I request your approval of the 25-26 curriculum.
And these curriculums involve community members looking through the
When we adopt a new
Adoption.
textbook curriculum,
Yeah.
correct, yes, they do look through
for
it.
state
and-
law.
Yes.
Any other questions on the curriculum? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the 25-26 curriculum.
Second.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And then next up, we will look at an emergency hire authorization for Mrs. Cheesman.
I ask for this every year, and in the past I've had to use it, and I am requesting it, but right now we don't have a need for it. So I'm hoping there are no surprises in the next 2 weeks, and I don't need to request it. But basically, I'm requesting your approval that if we would have a surprise and a certified teacher would choose to go somewhere else, that I would have the authority to hire that certified teacher in order to begin school, because the next board meeting is after the start of school. If that case would happen, I would email you the candidate's information, and you would have 24 hours to let me know if you had any questions or concerns. And if I didn't hear from you, we would go ahead and hire that teacher to be ready to start the first day of school. And again, we don't have any open teaching positions. We have an open elementary library position. That's not a certified position. And we're going to have a custodial position open. But at this point, looks like I'm not going to say it, fully staffed.
Any questions or discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the emergency hire authorization.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Our last action discussion item will be our additional topic for tonight. I asked Mrs. Cheatham to give us lots of information on our strategic plan. I don't know how many of you have read your journal front to back, our quarterly publication, but it devoted a lot of its content to strategic planning and district vision and goal setting. And honestly, we did a strategic plan just before Mrs. Cheatham came on board, before the pandemic. And I think we just kind of feel like we put it on a shelf and never looked at it again. And it was a fairly extensive.
And what I've given you in front of you is actually when we have kind of reviewed that. So in 2019, you did a fairly extensive strategic plan with the former superintendent, and then a couple of things happened. One, you got a new superintendent, and also COVID hit, and the world kind of changed at that point, along with the fact that the graduation requirements also changed, and we had something that were called graduation pathways. And so what had been done in 2019 was looking like things needed to be a little different at that time. And so typically a strategic plan lasts about 5 years before you need to redo it. The one in 2019 was written 2019 to 2023. And so kind of following the height of the COVID pandemic, we had eSolve Solutions come in and help us do focus groups to look again at some of the questions and where we stood. And so in front of you is the results of those surveys. So you have 3 profiles in front of you. We had the student profile, in which we interviewed 689 students filled out an electronic survey, and that we looked at the results of that, along with they interviewed 24 students. We had a community profile in which 383 people turned in an electronic survey across the corporation, and we had 14 community members that were interviewed, and we had a panel that met for 2 summers. We met up at Celebration Station and kind of merged all the information we were gathering. And then we also had a staff profile in which 130 teachers gave their responses electronically, and 18 staff members were interviewed. So these were the profiles of information that we put together, and this happened the fall of 2021 and the spring of 2022, and where we kind of looked at the old strategic plan, and then we took it and we asked a bunch of questions, and we synthesized all the results and into what people in these groups were satisfied with, what they were frustrated with, and what they had for their hopes and their dreams for our corporation. And we came up with these 3 profiles. Along with that, we worked with the teachers to come up with a graduate profile. We had a lot of talk with the community about, yes, we were giving kids the knowledge to be successful when they graduated, but they didn't always have the soft skills that they needed. I was hearing our manufacturers and our community members saying, we really want them to show up on time. We want to know them to know how to communicate, how to interact with others. those soft skills. And so the teachers looked at these profiles, and then we talked about what we wanted our kids to graduate, and we came up with this graduate profile, which is the 4th page, that you see, that we wanted them to be professional and have a strong work ethic and know life skills and be resourceful and know how to communicate. So that has come up with this strategic plan, kind of redefined with these 5. This last page gives you 5 goals that these frustrations, hopes, and dreams kind of all fall under, and strengthening our relationships with and community across the Eastern Pulaski community, expanding course offerings and career pathways, improving student emotional support and school culture, enhancing our instructional resources and professional learning, and increasing community involvement and shared use of facilities. So that's a synthesis of all of that. I'm happy to delve deeper into how we have tried to address these specific goals on this last page. But when we look at adding welding, or we look at buying Promethean boards, or we look at different initiatives that we're taking on, we go back to this and we say, how does it fit into what our community says we need, and our teachers and our students? And so that's our conscious discipline was a result of this. One of the things that the students and the teachers were saying, that we needed more effective discipline. We needed, that students didn't feel that they belonged at that time, and so we went out and we looked for different programs, and we looked at traumatic TBRI,
trauma-based responsive
say that again?
Trauma-based responsive intervention.
That, as well as conscious discipline, and our staff decided that conscious discipline was a better fit for our staff, and so we spent a lot of time training our whole staff in conscious discipline and doing team building and professional development, and that's where this has all stemmed from. So,
under the student profile, I guess the first thing I looked is under frustrations. Are these rated as number 1, 2, and 3, or they're just
not in priority? Those were the ones that were coming up when we did this survey in 2021. Those were the ones that were most noticeable as that they were wanting. We also have to remember these surveys were done right after we've been out for COVID. So we've been out of school for a while. We were wearing masks during all this time. In fact, if you look at the picture of the staff when I printed this off, we've all got masks on because that was at the height of COVID. So, we did this the fall of 2021. We typically run it around 5 years, plus we're coming off COVID. We've been out of COVID for a while, so we're hoping the things that we've implemented would give us some different results, plus we're getting close to the end of the 5 years to look at, how have we impacted the things that they were frustrated about or wanted to see changed.
It feels like a much different environment than 2021. And I do see curriculum development was a big frustration with staff. Do we feel like we've made advances in that?
We have spent a lot of our Wednesday PDs doing curriculum mapping across all grade levels, not only within a grade level, but then last year the teachers were saying they wanted to do it vertically, like 11th to 12th grade and 11th to 10th grade. And so we spent time last year doing it vertically as well as horizontally, so we've been working on that.
So I know a lot of the board wasn't here when we first developed it, and it was a pretty lengthy process, several months, lots of round tables and stuff, and I don't know how excited any of us are about hiring an outside consultant and coming and doing that. Is what we did 21-22 kind of what we would do again if we wanted to update this? We'd just do that. We wouldn't have to do the full-blown, start out with a mission statement and go on from that to months of...
Not to months, but I do think we would take some of the same questions and target the frustrations and see
how they've changed.
And see how they've changed and grown, and if we've shown improvement or if any others have popped up that we need to address and look at, continue to grow.
I would think we would see some differences just because, like I said, it seems like a way different environment after
when we
4 or 5 years of, and And we would probably be looking to do this in the next year or so, maybe, to be consistent with a 5-year turnaround. So if any of you were wondering when you were reading front to back your quarterly publication, if we had a strategic plan, we do. And I was kind of in the dark a little bit as to how much we had been using it, and if we get a daily, like, feedback about things on it, or if we, or not daily, but do we get, like, return questionnaires every now and then that kind of tell us how people are progressing with the frustrations or
We have not done a mass survey recently. We can certainly do that. Really, it's the guiding document that we use right now, that when we want to add something, we say, does it address one of our frustrations or one of our hopes? Rather than add something else to our plate, if it's not something that we have found important and want to work on, we say, okay, we're not going to deal with this right now. We're going to see how it fits. We try and make it match what we said, our community and our teachers and our staff have said that they want and what they think is important.
Why, just to point out, like, our welding and nursing program, that has gone a long ways, I think, with what people were looking for back then, as far as even more interaction with community partnerships and stuff like that. So we can continue on until we think we need to do the reevaluation and hopefully keep getting good use out of it.
Yep.
Anyone else have anything else they want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say the only thing I think is missing is with the technology and the way it's changing. I don't see that in here.
You're right. The AI is not in here, and that, you know, when we think of 4 years ago, that really wasn't even on the radar. There is a technology component, but it's not in the capacity that we're having to think of it right now, and that is something that we're going to have to look at and tackle to see how that's going to change education and how we teach and how it's going to impact what we do every day. So.
Yeah, I know we talked about it in a board meeting a few months ago, but with this online that other schools are offering, and how are we going to navigate those waters? I personally don't necessarily like that, but don't want to be left behind either. So I think that needs to be in the forefront in how we tackle that.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else? Okay, if not, we'll move on and let Mrs. Peason give her superintendent's report for this evening.
Well, first of all, I wanted to ask if any of you have seen the videos, the bus driver videos out on Facebook. We have gotten a lot of positive feedback and actually quite a bit of interest being generated. Katie has mentioned that there has been several bus driver applications. Some have started and haven't completely filled them out. She just got back from a few days off, so I'm anxious to have her really take a look at that. But we've gotten some really positive feedback, and I have really enjoyed those videos. So wanted to mention those. I also wanted to welcome Brandy Hayes Manning. She's going to be our music teacher at the elementary. She is not a new face because she's been at our elementary, so she's going to be changing roles, along with Paige Woodhouse is going to change roles. She's currently our supervisor, and she has accepted, and you have voted to move her to special education director. So I wanted to welcome both of them and introduce you to them today. So, as well as I talked to Stan today, and he is busy getting the facilities ready. It has been a little bit of concern. The air conditioning at the high school and middle school has been out this past week. The companies were in on Friday. They thought they had it going. It kind of glitched again today. It feels okay today. They are going to do a major flush of the system this week, and hopefully that should resolve it. Stan's learned a little bit about the chiller and what he needs to do differently, and so hopefully that'll be taken care of. I know some of the rooms have not gotten their carpets washed because we didn't want, they weren't going to dry. It was so humid in here, so as soon as we get that chiller going, he's going to be in here washing carpets. The parking lot looks great.
Looks very good.
We're going to be changing out the meter out there at the softball field. All the parts are in. He's talked to Jeremy with the town. We've got the meter for the irrigation system. It is in, and they're gonna be changing that out soon, so, we'll see some cost savings on that then.
Have they had a chance to do anything with the drains? Remember we did the walk through the drains?
No,
and
no, we haven't done anything.
You don't think
no,
it'll get done?
No, those aren't gonna get done this
I just
fall.
thought I asked.
A lot of preventative cleaning and getting ready, so.
A lot of mowing.
What?
Or a lot of mowing.
And a lot of mowing.
What do you got?
Yep.
Anybody have anything else for Mrs. Cheatham? Okay, well, that's it for the board meeting tonight. We'll do board comment, I guess. It's Mr. Kaiser's turn to start.
So say thank you for continuing to push, Indiana literacy cadre, get paid. That just seems 6 months, being behind, that just seems, wrong at all levels. But, so thanks, keep pushing. That's it.
Mr. Cunningham?
No comment.
White?
Thank you for getting the Boys and Girls Club up and running. I know that took a lot of work, but I think a lot of parents will be very happy with this. Thank you guys for that.
Ms. Ralph?
I think the Boys and Girls Club's gonna be a big asset. These kids need all the help they can get, my opinion. And the parking lot, the whole thing looks awesome with the seal.
Mr. Campbell?
No comment.
Well, congratulations to our transfers, and
Yes,
thank you for the grant money to help the Boys and Girls Club be a possibility. And hopefully it's smooth sailing. We have our first day of school before our next meeting, right?
Correct.
So
Holy cow.
when we come back to next August's meeting, we'll already be back in school. How exciting. All right.
3 weeks from today, we have teachers here. Next Monday, we have principals and secretaries, and we're off and running. Registration will open next week, and
Time flies. Okay,
exciting.
I need a motion for adjournment.
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Or- Motion carries.
I was like, oh, put it back in.
You can share it.
Swag.